Greetings, my name is Neosekken, and welcome back to my Let's Play of Silent Hill 2. Now, where we last left off, we started the sub-scenario, Born from a Wish, and we're now playing as Maria. So we're now covering her side of the story, clearly before she ends up meeting up with James in the main scenario, Silent Hill 2. And while we were exploring the town, looking for any signs of survivors, we came across this mansion, along with its only resident, who we have yet to see face-to-face, Earnest Baldwin. So while exploring this mansion, we haven't really found any sign of Earnest himself after that one encounter behind a door. But from what little we've been hearing and seen in the environment in this mansion, clearly there used to be other people who used to live here, but for some reason now they don't, and Earnest seems to be the only person here who remains. And while we were searching, we found a birthday present from an Amy Baldwin, and we've heard a disembodied voice, probably Amy, asking Maria to give the present that she found to her daddy, which, well, we're assuming is Earnest. So, coupled with this scene along with a few other strange things I've been seeing and hearing, you'd think that we're inside a haunted mansion. And given that this is Silent Hill 2, this is Silent Hill we're dealing with, a haunted mansion really wouldn't be out of the ordinary, if you ask me. You know, what with a town full of demonic monsters and mysterious other worlds and a whole bunch of other crazy shit. A haunted mansion would be child's play for a place like this town. Oh, you son of a bitch. I do not like getting ambushed. That was not cool. I'll use... Yeah, okay. I'll just use 2 health drinks, and I'll deal with the other thing in here. I see you! Okay, that creepy music is still going, so there's gotta be at least one more thing in here, yeah? Yeah, okay. Now, how many slashes is it going to take to get to the death toll of this thing? 4? Well, apparently 4. Ha! 4. Death. Very appropriate. Clearly, we're in a study. I'm in love. I'd like to sit in here and read all these books. Or at least stare at them. Either way, I feel at peace in this room. There's a clock here, but it looks like it's not running anymore. This won't do me any good. You'd probably be better off just finding a wristwatch. There are books on the desk. None of it looks very interesting. Maybe to you, Miss Anti-Philosophy and stuff. The bookshelf is lined with complete editions of difficult-looking books. I'm not interested in any of that. What do we have here? Lost memories. I have the strongest trust, you may even call it faith, in the miracle called resurrection of the dead. You really shouldn't delve in this stuff. Bad things tend to happen when you do. Upon the hill where the light descended, the beast intoned his song, with words of blood, drops of mist, and the vessel of night. the grave become an open field. Words of blood. Looks like that little red book and that red board from the last episode. Drops of mist, the white bottle, and vessel of the night, the black grail. Clearly we're getting a bit of a theme here with this house. The people wept in fear and joy at the reunion, but my faith in the salvation of Zushipaba did not waver. If I mispronounced that, I am terribly sorry. It is also spoken of in the ancient legends. The original worshippers did not believe that death was the end, but that it was simply the path by which the deceased returned to nature. They also believed the process was reversible. There's something imprinted towards the bottom of the page. Did Earnest write this? What could it mean? Blood equals red, mist equals white, night equals black. Yeah, I definitely think it's in reference to the objects in those boards, or the boards themselves. Hey, Ernest, you in here? Knock, knock.
Do you know a little girl named Amy?
Why do you ask me that?
This letter. To my dearest daddy. It's from a girl named Amy Baldwin. Your daddy?
Yes. Where'd you find that?
Up in the attic.
Oh. What a fool. Now, when it's too late, I finally understand why. Why she was there. Why she was holding that empty envelope when she fell.
Oh,
Ernest.
dear.
Amy. She isn't... I'm sorry. I'm sorry I reminded you.
No need to apologize. You didn't remind me. I've never forgotten. Maria, some things we forget, and some things we can never forget. It's funny, I'm not sure which one is sadder. It's been 10 years, but I still...
Ernest, I'm sorry. I didn't know.
No, it's fine. Maria, that letter.
I'll leave it here.
Thanks. Maria? So you must be... That's why you could see me.
Huh?
So perhaps that means that I can hope for a miracle as well.
What do you mean?
In the apartment next door, there's a bottle containing a white liquid. I don't know exactly where it is, but I know it's in there somewhere. I must have it.
You... want me to get it for you?
Please.
Why don't you just get it yourself?
If I could, believe me, I would. But
Wait.
I'll open the stairway door.
Ernest, do you really believe it will work?
I don't know.
Well, that's okay. I don't mind fighting for an impossible cause. Anyway, it beats just giving up and doing nothing.
Maria, thank you.
I'm sympathetic to your plight, but especially in the place that we're in, Silent Hill, you really shouldn't dabble in occult or dark forces like that. I mean, only God knows what would happen if you did. Amy's present to her father, Earnest, found with the birthday card. I think I'll leave this here. Okay, it's just this thing again. Besides, what if what you bring isn't Amy? What if you bring back isn't Amy? Or what if something goes wrong and what you end up bringing back is just like an incomplete version of her or something? I'm no expert on these occult rituals or anything, but again, I really think it's the sort of thing here that even if there was some measure of truth to the kind of powers that these rituals can supposedly have, like it is possible to bring stuff back, it just seems to me like it'd be a lot more trouble than it's worth.
You think miracles really can happen?
This is Silent Hill.
Yeah. Maybe that's the problem.
Oh, Maria, you think too much. I'm from here. This is my town.
Au contraire, I think I'm doing just enough thinking as it is. And I agree with Maria. I think that it is the problem. I think that this being Silent Hill is the problem. Let's see what's up these stairs. I can't pass through here. It's blocked by a wall. Okay, I think that just led up to that hallway on the second floor, so not that I really need to go back there. Broken. Broken. Okay, I think where we need to go is this way. Yep, it's unlocked now. Somehow. I don't see an electronic keypad or anything on this door, Earnest. Have you mastered the art of telepathically locking and unlocking doors? Might be a useful little trick to know, actually. Oh boy, I hear a bug. It's coming. Gotcha. Whoa. It fell from the ceiling. That's pretty creepy, actually. Okay, I hear them coming. Come on. Come to Papa. Gotcha. Dear Lord, there's 5 of them. There's some kind of plate on the floor. Amy Baldwin. Oh, dear. Back up, back up, back up, back up, back up, back up. I don't hear anything else. I think they're all dead now. Good. Amy Baldwin. She was loved too much by God. 7 years was not enough time. Oh, man, 7 years. It's too damn short. Again, I feel bad for you, Earnest, but again, I really don't think you should be messing with the dark forces that you're messing with. Okay, and there was a door there. Well, if I'm not in the mansion, then where am I exactly? Okay, we got a leg thing over there, and I hear one of those armless acid spitters. Okay, I can't move the camera in front of me, so it could be right in front of me. Okay, yeah, I was right. Honestly, I think the revolver might be stronger than James's handgun. Which I'm perfectly A-okay with. This explains a lot. Keep out of haunted mansion. Yeah. Kind of obvious when you piece together everything that you see and hear in that mansion, all the obviously spooky stuff. What with pathways opening up on their own, noises that you hear in the same room, but no obvious source. Pretty much the sort of thing you'd expect in a haunted mansion. So, Earnest, are you a spooky ghost? So, the Blue Creek Apartments. Clearly what we came here to find is somewhere inside this place. Okay, I think I hear him right behind me. Bug in here somewhere. And there it goes. Okay. Come at me. Let me kill you. Get back here, you little coward. Luckily for me, I have Hollywood darkness on my side. Otherwise, getting through this this apartment would be a real pain in the ass. I hear you. Okay, I think we're in the clear. That should be all of them. Something's written on the desk, but it's too dark to read. I don't know, it doesn't look that dark to me. What's that? The white liquid. That was easy. We already found it. Too easy, in fact. Kind of disappointed. We got this little safe spot here if we wanted to use it. First aid kit. Health drink. Oh, hi. Well, that would have been a very useful little trick to know through my main Let's Play of the game. Shoot them when they're already down once, and boom. Just kick them and they're done. I'm kind of tempted to just go ahead and explore this apartment complex, and even though I already found and got what I came here for. Just for the fun of it. Oh, what the hell, I think I will. It's not like this is a particularly big location. Plus, you might find an Easter egg or two. Okay, this is still blocked off, so no third floor for us. Sorry, James, but I need this map more than you right now. And I see your friend over behind me. Go down, bucko. Let me look at my rounds. Okay, perfect. I got plenty. Oh, there's two of you in here, I see. Yeah, I really think this ambush would have worked better if they just made everything just 200% darker. It's a safe, but I don't know how to open it. Simple, you find the combination. Disgusting. Well, that didn't stop James from sticking his grimy hands in there. And just for the fun of it, I will just use the cleaver on you. I can see the apartment next door through the window. Well, we clearly can't go there. Wait a minute, did I check the kitchen? Oh, hi. Now I hope your friend doesn't decide to come charging at me, otherwise that'd be very inconvenient. Okay, your turn. I wonder if the third one is alive again. Okay, so there's no items in here. No, you're still dead. I just hate when they come back to life like that. Oh. Come on, it was right in front of you, Maria. What was that? dead for sure this time. Good to know. Interesting. I kind of figured that... I kind of figured that the door leading to that room where I found Angela in these apartments had to be blocked off here, because I was certain that there was an apartment on the first floor that I explored and found her in. So clearly the door leading to that is broken right now. Oh, well, for me, I guess. See more of you guys. Now, wouldn't it be a bitch if Triangle Man was wandering around? It's locked. There's a note stuck on the door. Okay, you still are here. That takes care of you. Broken. Oh, we can go in here. And luckily for me, Triangle Man isn't here. And neither is the big body of water that would block this pathway leading to the park. This should take me to the alley that runs to the park. But first I better take care of my promise to Earnest. Yeah, I guess we should do that. But still, I gotta wonder, though, how the hell did that big body of water get there, then, if it wasn't there before? Did Triangle Man just take a hose and take a fire hose or something from somewhere and just fill it up preemptively or something? That'd be my guess. Yeah, I got plenty of healing items. That's good. Oh, wait. Other way. I wanted to go the other way. I couldn't quite tell how close it was. So that's fine. I got a small but decent selection of healing items, so it's all good. Again, the way those things twitch is still freaky. How's my health? Okay, it's okay. Oh boy, we got someone in here now. You son of a bitch. Okay, you've earned this. For a second, I thought Maria's footsteps were the sound of those nurse monsters, and I was like, "Oh shit!" And then I realized whose footsteps they belong to, and number two, nurses don't appear here. So, yeah, it gave me a bit of a scare there. Might as well just go ahead and save. Okay, Ernie boy, I got you your little white bottle. I hope you are very grateful indeed, or at least will be.
Thank you, Maria. That's the only item I couldn't get myself. By the time I found out about it, I could no longer leave this house. So long.
Yes, but Will...
Maria, the gods are here. You know it too. You were born in this town.
I'm not sure God is the right word.
Do you believe in fate?
Not really.
That's fine then.
Ernest, can I open this?
This is a dead end. There's nothing beyond here.
I know. So, what if I had said I believed in fate?
That James. He's a bad man.
James... Yes. I know.
He's looking for the you that isn't you.
Because he's kind? Do you know something?
Well, he knows James, so...
Maria, you're...
Anyway, that's just what you think. You don't really know anything.
I think he
That's
does.
fine.
Okay.
I think we can confirm it. We've been talking to a ghost. Presents opened. Are those slippers? Can't quite tell for sure. Or are they gloves? Sorry about that. That was my screensaver. I really gotta remember to disable that whenever I'm doing Let's Plays.
James.
Well, at least now I know why you don't have the gun.
Mary? No, you're not.
Do I look like your girlfriend? My name is Maria.
And thus, that leads to the events where these two meet up. So that was Born from a Wish. Short little sub-scenario, but certainly an interesting one. Helps flesh out Maria's character more. And with the conclusion of this sub-scenario, that is also, I guess, I guess we can also call this the true final conclusion to this Let's Play of Silent Hill 2. So like I said in the finale for the main story, even though this game kicked my ass a few times, well, on virtue of me playing on hard, it was nice being able to play it again after having not played it in a while. So now that I've officially completed the entire game, I guess I can now talk about what I think of the overall product. So I'll go into detail over that stuff as soon as we see my results for the sub-scenario. So if you don't want to hear if you really don't want to listen to me ramble about what I think of Silent Hill 2 overall, because for all I know it could be a little while, then, well, once we get to the results screen, then I guess you could just stop the video here if you want, and otherwise you can just stick around after that and just listen to me talk some more. You do you, dear viewer. But yeah, I like I said in the finale, I really do hold this game in pretty high regard, as does a lot of people. Because I really think that this game was pretty ahead of its time as far as its storytelling is concerned. Anyway, let's see my results, see how well I did. So I saved 3 times, I completed it in just under an hour and 20 minutes, and I obtained 54 items, and I defeated 0 enemies by shooting and 47 by fighting. And my total damage towards myself was only 240 points. Guess we can go ahead and save my clear data. So, my thoughts on Silent Hill 2 in general. I guess I'll just load this here so we can have this to look at. I grew up playing. I grew up with Silent Hill 1 and 2 as a kid. My first experience with the series proper was with the Silent Hill 1 demo back during the PlayStation 1 days. And that demo scared the absolute shit out of me. And yet I kept coming back to it here despite how much it terrified me, because I was a glutton for punishment like that when it came to horror, anything in general, whether it be with video games or some of the old B horror movies that you would typically see either on any number of cable television or sci-fi channel or anything of the sort. I was pretty masochistic in that way, much to my own detriment. So, when Silent Hill 2 entered the scene back when the PlayStation 2 launched, and, well, my parents decided to indulge me and just let me rent the game on the PS2, I was pretty damn blown away by the upgrade in visuals and everything compared to its predecessor. Like, to me, it looked lifelike. Well, for the time, as, you know, what PlayStation 2 hardware was capable of. Obviously, it doesn't look remotely lifelike. But, you know, just when you compare what came before on the PlayStation 1 and with the first Silent Hill game compared to the sequel, it was just such a night and day contrast between the two, where it just, you couldn't help but be blown away. Especially during the opening scene in the bathroom with James, where he asks the question as to whether or not Mary is in the town. When gameplay actually starts, you don't realize it at first because you think that you're still watching a cutscene. But once you sit there for a minute here, wondering why he's not doing anything, that's when that moment of realization hits you that you're actually in the middle of gameplay right then and there, and that you start to make James move. It just makes everything. It just made the visual feast even more enjoyable. When you realize that this is the sort of thing that you'll be seeing the entire time that you're playing the game. I mean, it unnerved me on some level, being a young kid. I mean, I was like, what, in 5th grade or something when I played Silent Hill 2 originally? But it still blew me away. I know I've said that a few times now, but I can't really stress enough just how much I loved seeing the improvement in graphics from the first game to the second game. Now, as for the game itself and its story, Silent Hill 1 has a pretty straightforward plot. You're an ordinary man taking his young child on vacation to a resort town of Silent Hill. But on your way there, something happens that causes your car to crash, and then you wake up into essentially a living nightmare with all kinds of strange supernatural happenings occurring all around you, and you being attacked by all manner of monstrosities. And you're basically trying to rescue your kid from all the scary shit that was happening around you, and pray that both of you can escape in one piece. And just leave the town that you found yourselves in right behind you, and just never look back. But Silent Hill 2, even with the basic premise, is more complicated than that. You go into a town not knowing what you're gonna find there, because you are beckoned by a dead loved one to come to there after she tells you that she's waiting for you. So at first you think, okay, so your wife is dead, so whoever sent you this letter obviously can't be her. It has to be some kind of hoax, somebody trying to draw you out to Silent Hill for some reason. So, why would you go there, despite knowing that your wife is dead? But then, as you progress forward, while you ponder this mystery, and as it becomes clear to you that clearly James is holding on to some kind of hope that maybe Mary's alive, as you play the game, and as more and more of the plot slowly unfolds, as the mystery behind everything plays out, it paints an interesting picture. It paints an interesting picture that constantly keeps you guessing as to whether or not Mary herself was actually alive, and if she was, why she would ask James to come to this godforsaken town where all sorts of supernatural stuff was occurring. And then right towards the end, when you start to slowly piece together what might have actually happened between James and Mary, and when the revelation as to what James did to her is when you finally reach that point, when you find out that James actually murdered Mary, and that this whole journey through Silent Hill that he's been on has essentially been born of a delusion on his part, it changes everything as to how you perceive the game. From its story, to James himself, his interactions with all the characters, to even some of the stuff that you find throughout the town and the game's environment, the subtle hints of symbolism and foreshadowing leading up to this revelation that it's been peppering and putting in front of your nose this whole time, but you couldn't quite figure out what it was about, or it was just not obvious to you. There's no way you could have known until you had more pieces to the puzzle. And then, of course, the other heavy subject matter that Silent Hill 2, even though it handled a lot of it subtly, chose to tackle, whether it be Angela's her abusive family, her relationship with them, up into sexually suggestive things. And what little we do pick up with Eddie and his bowling problem, I guess, and how it basically drove him to his murderous impulses. And then, of course, the absolute mountain of character interpretations that is James, and his reasons for why he killed Mary. Like, did he do it? Did he do it to spare his wife of a slow and agonizing death? Did he truly want her out of the way because she became a burden to him? So, or was he just an ordinary man who was pushed into doing a terrible thing? There's a number of ways you can interpret James's character, from a loving man who performed the ultimate sacrifice for his wife by killing her, by putting her out of her misery. A selfish man who just wanted to basically get rid of a person who basically became a burden to him by that point, just to get his life back. But the more human, empathetic side of him just wouldn't let him just move on from it. And so, along with Silent Hill's help, it just basically drew him into his own self-inflicted hell that wouldn't let him easily move on and just want him to suffer for his crime. And then, of course, there's the third interpretation I presented, which is my personal interpretation of James, is that he was just an ordinary man who just did a terrible thing. He just had a really bad draw, him and Mary. She got sick with some unknown disease that was incurable, and she was dying a slow and painful death. And it was just bringing absolute hell to both his and her relationship with each other. And it eventually just drove them both to the breaking point, James especially. I'm not condoning what he did, but at the same time, I can't help but be at least a little sympathetic and at least a bit understanding as to why he could have felt driven to that point, because I can't imagine just being in his situation, how painful it must have been to essentially watch your wife, the love of your life, just slowly die, and you being completely powerless to stop it. And on top of that, she's lashing out at you because of her situation and just giving you all kinds of mixed signals because she's scared out of her wits. She's going to die. You know this, and yet at the same time, you can't help but feel frustrated over the whole situation, both for the pain that she's inflicting on you by giving you these mixed signals, the fact that you can't do much with her at all due to the condition that she's in, whether it be of a sexual nature or just taking her out and enjoying life. It's just heartbreaking in my eyes. I hope I never have to experience something like that. But yeah, I sympathize with his situation, but at the same time, I don't really condone the fact that he did kill her. But at the same time, I guess I can also argue, and yes, I guess I am kind of, it sounds like I'm fence-sitting here a bit, and maybe I am, but at the same time, though, you could also argue that she was going to die anyway. So ultimately, even regardless of the reason, the ultimate true defining reason, I think it was multiple reasons that drove James to murder Mary. Like, it was more than just an act of love. It was more than an act of selfish interest. It was just all manner of things. And that's pretty much, to me, what makes James a complicated character, because he's not two-dimensional like that. He's multifaceted down to his core motivations, if you really pay attention. Nothing with him is simple, and that's what makes him such an interesting character to me. A tragic character, but an interesting one. He did a horrible thing by killing Mary. But at the same time, she was going to die a slow, agonizing death anyway. So, if you want to look at it one way, I guess you could say that James, in a sense, performed the ultimate act of love and sacrifice by putting his lover, his wife, out of her misery. Even though it inflicted great emotional and mental hell on his psyche, as his whole journey through Silent Hill essentially reflected, and along with him just essentially deluding himself as to the circumstances behind her death and when she died, when it could have been anywhere from probably just a few hours ago before he entered the town, for all we know. Regardless of the reasons why James killed Mary, and again, I stand by my interpretation that he did it as an act of sacrifice and love for Mary, as an act of love and sacrifice for Mary, while having a little tint of selfish motivation to it. I think ultimately the loving side of him won out in that decision making, and so that's the main reason why he killed Mary. Again, that's my interpretation. It's just, regardless of the reason why he killed Mary, he clearly felt great guilt from it. So much so that he deluded himself into a massive fantasy as to the circumstances of not only why she died and when, but he even clearly had to have imagined that letter arriving from Mary, beckoning him into Silent Hill, because towards the end, as he began to seriously question whether or not Mary actually died 3 years ago in his head, bits and pieces of that letter started to disappear. And towards the end, when all the pieces started to come together, the letter disappears entirely. Not just what's written on it, not just the letter itself, but even the envelope it came in. It all gradually vanished towards the end. His own grief over having done what he did to Mary, even if it was largely even if it was largely an act of sacrifice and love on his part, it literally drove him mad. So much so to where he essentially ended up summoning himself to Silent Hill, and once he got close enough, Silent Hill began to work its dreaded magic on him, and thus began the events of Silent Hill 2. Both his trek through it and Maria's creation and eventual meeting with him to essentially act as like a torturing mechanism for James, because she repeatedly gets killed throughout the story thanks to Triangle Man. And that to me is meant to, when you look at the greater scheme of the whole game and its story, I think that's basically meant to act as basically a constant reminder of James's murder of Mary. Pyramid Head was basically trying to help James remember what he did to Mary by constantly murdering Maria again and again. That, along with occasionally helping him by pushing him in the right direction, whether it be tossing him off a roof and into a locked area he couldn't access before, or just, repeatedly murdering Maria and opening pathways which were inaccessible to him, like that pathway leading to the park after that first fight with him. Even though he was far from benevolent towards James, in his own way, Pyramid Head, I think, was helping James ultimately come to realize the truth behind what he did to Mary. So, in a sense, he, even as hostile as he may have been, I think of Pyramid Head as kind of like James's guardian angel of sorts, trying to steer him on the path towards redemption. There's a lot I could really say about this game and all the various little things, from some of the environmental symbolism in some of the rooms you'd see throughout the town, to even some of the other characters' own unique problems, and some of the environmental symbolism and hints that you would find in areas where they are inhabiting. I could talk a good while about this game, but I think if I really wanted to, I'd probably have to make like a separate video for this sort of stuff. And I really don't think most of you watching this are here to just listen to me talk at length here for dozens and dozens of minutes on end, potentially. My long list of theories for Silent Hill 2 and my own interpretations of the cast. But I think I pretty much talked about the most important aspects of the story and the most important characters. That being James himself and his whole reason for being in Silent Hill to begin with. And how it just, in my mind, is just masterfully woven from beginning to end, his tale, and how the game and everything just does an excellent job just foreshadowing all these things. And when you just get to the end of it, and when you finally realize the truth, you just get to sit back and just reflect on your entire journey up until now, and then just realize, and it just changes your again, it just changes your entire perspective on the whole game. From the tiny little things you'd find in the game's environment all the way to the greater whole. It was such a magnificent twist. This story is a lot deeper than probably a lot of people would expect it to be at first. But if you really sit down and think about a lot of these things and just delve deeper, you realize just how much of a multi-layered puzzle and tale that Silent Hill 2 really is. And that's why I hold the story of Silent Hill 2 in the absolute highest regard among both Silent Hill series and horror games as a whole. But in regards to Silent Hill, the series, it definitely, in my opinion, has the best story. It has the most complex, the most interesting, and in many ways, perhaps the most tragic. That's not to say that the stories of the other Silent Hill games aren't good. A lot of them are. Especially the Team Silent games 1 through 4, including 2. But 2, I think, was Team Silent's magnum opus as far as the story department is concerned. Even if you think about the kind of story that Silent Hill 2 has in relation to all the other games that they made in the series before their disbandment, it's pretty much the odd duck out as far as its story is concerned. Now, and I'm pretty sure those of you who know anything about what Silent Hills 1, 3, and 4 are like in terms of its story, I'm pretty sure maybe you guys know what I'm talking about here when I say that Silent Hill 2 is the odd duck out as far as its story is concerned. But if not, then, well, I'm sorry I'm being a bit vague on this, but I don't want to risk spoiling anything for Silent Hills 1, 3, or 4. If any of you watching may want to check those out yourselves at your own leisure. Anyway, I think I've rambled long enough. Like I said, I've pretty much covered, I think, the most important topics and what I think about them. I just really love Silent Hill 2. It may not be my favorite in the series in terms of its gameplay, in which case I think Silent Hill 3 is the best playing Silent Hill game out of all the Team Silent games for sure. It's just got the best gameplay, it's got the best atmosphere, best everything else, with the possible exception of Silent Hill 2 also probably having the best soundtrack. But Silent Hill 3 also has a very good soundtrack too. All the games do, admittedly, but yeah. 2 and 3 are my favorites in this series. Silent Hill 3 is a pretty... but I like 2 and 3 for different reasons. So in that respect, I hold them as my favorites equally, but for different reasons, if that makes sense. But yeah, it was great. It was I had fun doing a Let's Play on Silent Hill 2. The only part about my Let's Play of this game was, since I played this game plenty of times before, I pretty much know a lot about the entire story, a lot of the game's environments, and any symbolic meanings that even the tiniest of items in certain rooms had, if any. And it wasn't really fun just keeping all this knowledge to myself right up until the very end here, because there was just so much I could really talk about this game, but I didn't want to spoil anything for one thing by just displaying my passion for the game, and well, I just think it just wouldn't have been as quite as important as just focusing on the then and there in front of me. So, yeah. I mean, I'm glad I got to at least now get to reach this point and at least air out a lot of my thoughts about the game proper. But, yeah, that it just sucks knowing that you have to make a constant effort not to blurt or say anything that could give even a subtle hint as to a possible spoiler down the line. But overall, I think I'm pretty satisfied with how tight-lipped I was throughout my entire covering of this game. I don't think I really spoiled anything major or even really hinted towards anything in a really obvious way. But anyway, if any of you are still here, if you've listened to me ramble on for 20 plus minutes or something now, I mean, thank you for actually putting up with me and listening to me up until now. But yeah, for those of you who have both stuck around through this rambling of mine and maybe even checked out this entire series, both from start to finish, including these extra episodes, really, I thank you for taking the time to check out my videos on this series. I really hope that you enjoyed them. Probably not the most entertaining person. I'm probably far from the most entertained person that could have covered this game, but all the same, I enjoyed playing the game, even when it kicked my ass and got me frustrated a few times. And I hope my passion for this game and the fun I did have all throughout did manage to seep through and become apparent to any of you who are watching, because I really did have fun, and I'm kind of sad to see this come to an end. Anyway, I guess this concludes. On a final note, I guess this also concludes my October 2018 Halloween marathon special that I had going on, where I basically did a video a day between Resident Evil games and Silent Hill games. I start with Resident Evil and I end with with 2 videos in a row from Silent Hill 2. Not quite what I was expecting to play out. I was kind of thinking that all throughout, between Resident Evil 1 and 2 and Silent Hill 1 and 2, it would probably consistently all throughout be like a video of each in between the two, to where the second to last video in this marathon would be a Resident Evil video, and then the last would be a Silent Hill video, or vice versa. Didn't quite play out this way, what with me finishing Resident Evil 2 and me putting out 2 final episodes of Silent Hill 2, but that little hiccup in my plans aside, I think I'm pretty satisfied that I managed to stay on top of this little upload schedule that I had set for myself, even if, admittedly, it ended up proving to be a lot more trouble than I initially expected it to. I'll probably talk about this in a comment or something in a little more detail, but the short of it is, well, if I'm going to ever do something like this again, where, I don't know, like maybe of October of next year or something similar, I decide to, for a short time, just upload daily as a sort of special event or a special celebration of some kind, just to give something fun for any of you guys who are watching, I'm probably going to have to upload content for such a thing well in advance, because between working out schedules with other people in my life here, work, and other stuff of that sort, doing a daily upload like this and just getting video files ready, editing and all editing, creating thumbnails and all that stuff on top of everything else going on in my personal life. It was kind of tough, to say the least. And I won't lie, no small part of me is looking forward to just being able to relax a little bit and go back to my regular upload schedule of every 2 or 3 days or so here, depending on when exactly I get certain things uploaded. I mean, I think my regular upload schedule is pretty okay, all things considered. It's not I'm sure some of you probably would enjoy daily content, but I feel like I'm too busy in my personal life to where I could really do that and not just burn myself out quickly. So at least a video every couple days here, I think, is a pretty reasonable upload schedule that I can set for myself, and maybe more content if I can squeeze in some time here and there on occasion, but for now this is the best I can do. It was tough doing this daily thing for October 2018, but all the same, I'm glad I managed to make it through all the way to the end, and I hope that any of you watching enjoyed this short little special event I had here for October 2018. I hope you enjoyed the daily uploads while they lasted. Anyway, I think I've said everything that I need to say, both for the game and for the October 2018 event I had going on. I really hope that you enjoyed this Let's Play of Silent Hill 2, and if you were joining me from any of my other Let's Plays through October 2018, I hope you enjoyed this little special event that I planned out and managed to create all the way up until the very early days of November. I mean, we went a little beyond Halloween here, a couple extra days more than planned, but well, I was kind of expecting that to happen anyway, because I didn't know for sure how many videos I would have here by the end of everything exactly. But yeah, I really hope you enjoyed. I hope you enjoyed my Let's Plays all throughout October 2018, or at very least enjoyed this Let's Play of Silent Hill 2. If you enjoyed this content and you want to see more of it, then, well, feel free to subscribe to my channel. I'll see you guys next time. Take care.